couple weeks ago, I put out a video talking about the types of new construction that you should avoid. In that video, I made a reference to a builder that rhymed with Chesmar. I would run away on this one for any builder whose name rhymes with Chesmar. I would run. And a couple of my clients, honestly, they freaked out. They're like, wait a minute. Are you talking about Chesmar? And like, we're building with them. Like, why didn't you tell us that? And I'm like, hold on. I need to clarify. We are not talking about Chesmar as a builder to avoid. Actually, I really like them. And we haven't done them in our like behind the builder deep dive series yet. So I want to take some time and talk through that today. So for reference, that other video, if you go back and watch it, it's not Chesmar. It's definitely not them because they're super solid. I'll just give that away right now. But it is another one that sounds somewhat similar. We'll leave that at that. But today I want to talk to you about Chesmar Homes, what you should expect when you're building with them, the price point, their locations, their communities. At the end of the day, whether or not this is a builder that fits for you and your family as you're considering either building a home or buying from a builder here in DFW. If we haven't met before, my name is Zach. My team and I, we specialize in selling new construction real estate, particularly here in the DFW marketplace. So whether you are building from the ground up and you need help walking through that process, or you're wanting to walk through a builder's inventory and buy something quickly, or you're here locally in DFW, or you're moving to DFW, I don't care. We would love to help answer any questions and be a resource for you throughout that process, represent you through those transactions. Contact information, we put it right there. Reach out, love to help, all of those things. So Chesmar, let's get in and talk about them and what we know about them. So for starters, they are a Texas local builder, which we love to see. I really appreciate doing business with mostly local Texas builders. Now, there are some national builders that we like, some that do put out really good products, but for the most part, I think it's when we get into these Texas builders that are local, that really understand our market, really understand kind of what people like here. I think these are the ones, in my opinion, that win for me. So local to Texas, they're about to turn 20. They started back in 2005, based mostly out of Houston. They've kind of expanded, so they're in all of the major markets here in Texas. So they're in Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and in Central Texas. So of course, I'm going to talk mainly about what's going on with them in DFW because that's where I, have my expertise. So I can't really speak to those other markets, but like I said, they are local to Texas. And over the past 20 years, they've built about 5,000 homes, which is definitely not a small number, and it's definitely not, it's a very respectable number. So it's really cool to see the way they've grown, the way they've expanded, the way they've cared about customers. And up until about a year and a half ago, I hadn't had much experience with them. So I had a lot of people asking me, well, tell us about Chesmar. I was like, I can't. I didn't know anything. I couldn't up until, like I said, early or mid, last year. And so I've had clients, build with them. I've had clients buy off their inventory. And overall, like I told you in the beginning of the video, I would say they're a super solid choice if they're in a place that makes sense for you. Like if they're building in a community or a location that you like at a price point that makes sense, I would definitely consider them. I think we've seen some really good stuff come out of their design, really good stuff come out of their customer service. And so overall, I think they're a good consideration for us to take a look at. We're going to look at their website like we always do with these builders and just kind of talk through where they're building, some of their floor plans, and maybe even in the good, some things I wish they did a little bit better. One thing I do want to tell you off the front, so when you build with them, I always have people ask, they're like, what are the design processes like, right? So their design process is a little bit unique. So they do not send out to a design center. So a lot of builders here in North Texas have local, either they've built their own design center or they have local partners that they send clients to. You go in and you walk through and you pick out all the things. That's not necessarily the case with Chesmar. They actually build design centers within all of their communities. So inside the model home, you will find their design center for that community. Now, what I found is they do bring in, most of the time they do bring in a designer. So it's not necessarily the salesperson that you're meeting with, which I think is a plus, because oftentimes, let's be honest, salespeople are great salespeople. Sometimes they're not super great at helping with design, and they've just got a ton of other things going on. So I do appreciate that they have designers on their team that come in, set up those appointments, meet with you, walk you through all of the different options, questions, things like that for the design of your home. Now, in terms of selections, I did feel like we did a design appointment with them recently. I did feel like they had a good amount of selections. It's definitely not like everything you could ever want. Again, they're not a full custom builder, but it didn't feel limited. I felt like it was in a good space in most of their selections and most of their catalog. They had good options to choose from. Their pricing was comparative against other other builders, other, things like that. So I felt like pricing was comparative. It was like, oh, this didn't feel too expensive or felt like it was right on par with kind of what everybody else did. So I would like in some of those spaces a little bit more selections, but I totally understand it from the standpoint of, hey, there's only so much we can put in our model homes for you to pick from. So, you take that for kind of what it's worth. In the midst of all of those selections, one thing that I have found in a lot of their different communities, and the reasons why we've seen clients want to lean toward them comparative to other ones, is usually their standard feature list is pretty good comparatively. Like when we look at it in Heartland, or we look at it in Waxahachie or Midlothian, like when we start looking at them and saying, oh, okay, compare this to the builder next door, for what they're including on their standard pricing, I feel like it fits really, really well. So here's what I do. I want to take you to their website and kind of, click around and explore for a little bit, look at some floor plans, look at some pricing, because really that's kind of what drives the train for a lot of people. It's like, hey, where are they building? What kind of houses are they building, and how much is it going to cost me? So let's jump over and look at the website, and we'll keep going. All right, so I have the map pulled up of where they're currently building in DFW. They've started to expand, which I really, really appreciate. Currently, they're showing to be at about 23 different communities here in DFW, as far north as Sherman and as far south as Waxahachie. They've got a big concentration kind of right out here on the east side. So they're in Heartland. They've got a new one coming in Talia. They're in Solterra, which is a big one in Mesquite. We've got a big concentration out here, like I said, a little bit to the north. So if you're looking like, hey, we want to be Prosperous Line, Little Elm, they're not there yet. I don't know if they'll be there or not, but they're not there at the moment. Of course, so they're to the east. They've got a handful down here to the south, and then of course they're stretching out across the Fort Worth side. So 23 different communities. I'm hoping that they continue to expand. I think that they will, and they're in some really cool spaces. When we talk about in terms of quick move-ins here in the DFW market, they're showing 138 different quick move-in homes that you could so at the time of this recording, so this is like August 2024, 138 different quick move-in, you could close on these probably within the next 30 to 45 days options. So anything starting 329.9. So this is Heartland. So it's 2,000 square feet, 3-bed, 3-bath, 2-story in Heartland. We could do, let's see, we could do Fort Worth. So 378, 1743 square feet. And then let's just go, actually, I want to look at it, see if there's any. So one of my new favorite communities right now is Avondale. We've talked about this one. This is kind of out by me. So this is a community in Fate. It is Rockwell ISD, but one of the reasons I like it, or here, let me back up. One of the downsides on this one is a little bit smaller lot. So these are 40 and 45 foot lots. So I just want to preface that on the front end. But what I do like about them is their tax rate is under 2%. No mud, no PID, and it's Rockwell ISDs, and it's right there close to 30. So this is one of my new favorite communities. So let's just see what they've got for quick move in here in Avondale. So we've got a 1736 square feet, 3-bed, 2-bath, 398, and then all the way up to a 2,500 square foot house at 2,600 square foot house up at 481. So let's take a look at this one. On it and see. Now, while I'm showing you this, I will always, one of my biggest complaints about this and about the building industry in general is new construction websites. Sometimes they're a little bit clunky, and I'm like, I wish you would give me some more options to see. Chesmar's kind of falls somewhere right in the middle. I do appreciate that we can see the plan. I wish we could kind of get a little bit more of an adaptation on hey, what does it look like when we start changing out? Obviously this is not going to change out on a quick move-in, but on a build job, what does it look like when we click in these different options? And of course, if we could see pricing, I would love that, but I know that's a hard. No builders quite figured that out yet. Some of them have gotten close, but none of them have quite figured it out. So, but anyway, this plan particularly, so first floor, you've got study, bedroom with a bathroom, and then primary bedroom down, and then living, kitchen, dining, and then upstairs game room and 2 more bedrooms. Okay, so that would be a quick move-in one in Fate, like I said, 481, and this is before we ever talked about incentives, or we ever talk about closing costs or price reduction, anything like that. So that just, that number has probably got a good chance to change. I did want to point this out up here. This is one of the, I wish, we've clarified with a lot of builders, hey, promotions are always happening and they're always changing, but this one they're showing right now is 0 interest for 6 months. So let's click here. Let's see what that actually means. Okay, so a new home standing, ready to showcase, virtual start your journey. Okay, tell me how this works. I gotta work with their Okay, guys, come on. So this is one, and I'm like, man, that's a really cool incentive. Like, tell me a little bit more about it, but it doesn't really give us a ton other than getting qualified with their CLM mortgage. So 6 months, no interest. So basically what they're doing is they're probably giving you a closing cost credit to help cover those interest payments for the first 6 months, which is, not insignificant. That's a healthy process. So I think there's probably more incentive on top of that. I wish more builders would be more upfront on their websites with, hey, here's what we're doing in terms of incentives. Here's what we've got in terms of closing costs. Because I think it just makes it easier for you as the consumer. I understand why they do it. They're like they want you to call, right? Or they want you to come in, or they want you to ask questions. And I understand that. But also at the same time, it's like, as a consumer, it's like, I just want to see what it is and how it works and get a better idea. Now, obviously, it's not going to be absolute because everybody's situation is a little bit different. And of course, you've got to talk to a lender to get the best numbers. But it's always helpful when I can look at it and be like, okay, we have about this much to play with or about this much going on to kind of get an idea. So let's go back. I want to look at some more quick move in homes. We looked at kind of on the bottom end. Let's look at, just out of curiosity, their most expensive side. So quick move in. So again, $329 on the low end. And if you're at the top of a budget, let's just go to the end. So we've got some 7s, some 6s, some 8s. And then we do cross over the million threshold. So if you're looking at Argyle and you're wanting to get, so like Canyon Falls 90-foot lots, let's look at this one just out of curiosity. So gives you kind of a little spiel on the house, and then there would be your floor plan. So 3-car garage, 1, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, primary, and then it's got an upstairs game room and media room. You can kind of see the elevation. So anything probably low to mid 300s to up above, well over $1 million or right at $1 million here in DFW. If we go back and look at their floor plans, you can see we have 154 different floor plans that they carry here in DFW. So I'm not going to click through, that would bore you. I'm not going to click through all of those, but you can see starting at 319 and then running up toward, like we talked about, that $1 million price point for Chesmar here in DFW. And of course, that's coming on a 90-foot lot, which means you've got space, and it's over on the west side in Argyle. So wish we had a little bit better, as we click on these things, different options, but you can kind of see classic styling, classic design, few changes that can be made, again, design within those communities, all of those good things. In terms of warranty, and one of the things that a lot of people always ask me about is what happens with a builder's warranty, who services it, because some builders do service their own warranty. Chesmar, they do not. They use a company called 210, and 210 is one of the big players in new construction home warranties. So like they service a lot of different builders. Builders come into 210, buy their warranties and buy the different levels. So this is the 210 for Chesmar. Kind of talks you through all of the different things that are warranted. So the workmanship warranty, your distributions, your systems, and then of course your structural. Very similar to what a lot of other builders do, where they do offer that 1-2-10 service. But like I said, this is serviced by a third-party warranty system, so it is not serviced in-house. Except some people love that, some people don't like that. It's personal preference. I've seen builders that are good at both sides of those things. So for me personally, I don't think it makes too big of a difference. I don't know. I kind of like when builders service their own warranties, but I understand, like, at least if you're going to outsource it, 210 is a good company to outsource that to. So I appreciate that. So when you read through the reviews online for Chesmar, like when you do with most builders, you're going to find, and I'm just honest and candid, you're going to find a pretty mixed bag. You're going to find people that are, love their stuff, and you're going to find people that are frustrated. And again, we're always reminded that, hey, usually it's the people that are frustrated that are the loudest, right? People usually don't go and say good things on the internet. It's a whole lot easier to say things when you're frustrated. So I always tell people, hey, take them with a grain of salt, read them, ask questions, look at the product for yourself, take a realtor that understands the new construction space. So again, I don't want to cover one way or the other and say, oh, they're absolutely phenomenal and they have everything but great review, everything is great reviews. Because it's not the case. But that's not the case with any builder, right? So if you start digging deep enough, you'll find enough stuff. good and bad with both people. I do like that as I read through reviews that it seems like they're responsive, they're answering questions. So is the company perfect? Absolutely not. But again, there's not a perfect build company. There's no matter who they are. I don't care. They're all going to have issues, and they're all going to have things that may go wrong. They're all going to have times when people are frustrated. We always care about, it's not when something happens. It's not if, it's when. How do they respond? How do they make it right? How do they do things to make you as the buyer feel important and make sure that you are satisfied with the thing that you're buying, because you are spending a lot of money. So like I said, it's a mixed bag. Like if you look, and I've looked, it's a mixed bag, and I understand those things. But again, I can tell you from my experience, my client's experience, that it's definitely one that I would put in consideration here in DFW if you're taking a look and trying to find a brand new home. So we've covered pretty much the bases. Like I said, I would say take a look at them. Again, they may be a fit for you, they may not, design-wise, style-wise, those things. Just take a look and see. If you have questions, or you have comments, or you're worried about other builders, or you want to know, we've covered a ton. So if you look through this playlist, you probably find one of the builders you're looking for. If you don't see it, drop us a comment. Let me know. I would love to do some research for you and talk about those builders here in DFW. And as always, if we can be helpful in any way, like we said at the beginning, it's right there. So thanks for hanging out today. Appreciate your time, guys. We will see y'all for the next one. Bye for now.